Mads Game 75, production number 0283, air date to be announced, take one.
Get ready to match the buildings, in which technological advances were on the rise, paving the way for telecommuting and digital computation.
First, we have Central Behir. During this time, the Netherlands were going through depolarization, which meant getting rid of many divisions that were in place against religion, race, and class. This liberal movement also included women joining the workforce, their numbers continually increasing. Hertzberger followed the structuralist school of thought when creating Central Behir. Structuralism was trying to create social patterns and relationships. The layouts encouraged interaction between people as they worked. This created a utopian workspace that people could think of as another home. The Dutch structuralist idea of Kasbah is very prominent, with its dense and compact spatial organization. The architect Hertzberger studied under Aldo van Eyck, who explains that they do not lose their specific identity when multiplied, but on the contrary, actually acquire extended identity and varied meaning once they are configured into a significant group. And we also have Willis Faber Dumas. The Willis Faber Dumas started in 1971 and construction ended in 1975. As it stands, she boasts a whopping 200,000 square feet. The site can be located in Ipswich, England, on the corners of Civic Drive and Princess Street. In terms of design, the entire structure was and still is a staple in Ipswich, feeding into the modernist mentality. What makes this building particularly unique is the organic elements encompassed in its design, molded from the restrictions of the lot. Inside, you can find much of the ample amenities one would find at home, plus some, with state-of-the-art computer stations, an indoor swimming pool for occasional leisurely fun, an expansive interior car park, cafeteria with luxury dining options, and even a rooftop garden to get out and grow. This building is jam-packed. Combine that with a sleek, organically infused open office Bureau Landschaft concept, this is the building of your dreams. Now today, we have contestant Richard, and the audience will consist of Helen, Leonard, Susan, and last but not least, Wanda. And finally, we have our amazing host, Betty. Now let's get ready to match the buildings.
Now, Richard, let's begin by asking the first question. Which architect was born on June 6, 1932, studied architecture and engineering at Delft University of Technology, opened up his own firm in 1960, and is currently the oldest active Dutch architect at 88 years old? He is well known for his work on the Central Behir previously mentioned. Audience members, are your answers locked in? Richard, what did you answer?
I chose Hermann Hertzberger.
Now let's see what our audience members chose. Looks like you were correct, Richard. What convinced you to choose Hermann Hertzberger over Norman Foster?
Well, Betty, you see, I chose this because I knew the Delft University of Technology was in the Netherlands, which is where Hertzberger spent part of his many teaching years as a professor, after his time teaching at the Academy of Architecture in Amsterdam, making him the only Dutch architect of the two.
Very clever on your part. Now let's hear from some of the audience members.
My thinking was quite the opposite from the contestant. I knew that Norman Foster is a highly prolific and industry-leading architect that is largely responsible for paving the way for the modernist progression of architecture that we see today compared to Hertzberger's structuralism approach.
I used the process of elimination. I knew that Norman Foster was born in 1935. Graduating with a master's in architecture from Yale in 1962 and beginning his firm in 1967, which did not match the description of the architect in the question.
Well, I tried to think of all the works that each architect designed. I knew that some of Hermann Hertzberger's famous works included the Montessori School in Delft and the Die Grün houses, whereas some of Norman Foster's works included London's City Hall and the iconic Hearst Tower in New York City. These comparisons easily allowed me to conclude that Central Behir would be Hermann Hertzberger's piece of work.
Since your answer matched up with all four of the audience members' answers, both you and the audience members, as a group of course, will each receive one hotline from the narrator, which can be used at any point for the remainder of the game.
Now we move on to the next part of the game. Richard will have 6 diagrams displayed on the screen, each of which belong to Central Behir. Each time you are told a description, you must match that description to the appropriate diagram. The audience members will have to complete a similar task, but for Willis Faber Dumas. Only if both the contestant and audience members get the sets of descriptions right, they may move on to the next round.
Is everyone ready? This one is for Richard. This diagram shows us all of the amenities within Central Be Here, as seen in the legend on the top right-hand corner. From cafes to libraries, all with Herman Hertzberger's ideas of creating a home from home in mind. Other luxuries not seen in this diagram include rooftop terraces, which allow for a place to get fresh air, and little spaces which are intended to invite relaxation, which can be adapted for any use, again highlighting another Hertzberger concept, which is for the users to bring meaning and function to the building. Which diagram best matches with this description?
Betty, I'm gonna say diagram 1C.
Your answer has been selected. Now, onto the audience members. This here is an amenities diagram of the Willis Faber Dumas building. The main feature of the building is the pool, which is the shaded green area. It was at the time the only building that had a swimming pool in an office area. Next is the escalators. The building didn't have just one, but 3 escalators on each level. The workspace area is another amenity. Why? Because it had rows and rows of office space. It was on the bottom floor and upper level. It was open and easy to get around. Lastly, the glass around the building was another feature because at the time it was new and it was very pleasing to the eye. Which diagram best matches this description?
Well, we came up with a unanimous decision and are saying diagram 2D.
Your answer has been selected. Ted, please tell us if anyone will be making it to the next round. Congratulations! You all have made it onto the next round. Here is the second set of descriptions. This one is for Richard. This diagram does not only show us how pedestrians and cars both enter and exit this office complex, but also shows us how the Central Be Here was almost that of Labyrinth, which made the circulation of the building a lot more complex. To the extent that the excessive signage was needed to prevent people from getting lost. However, the labyrinth-like layout encouraged interactions between people, which created Hertzberger's ideas of a utopian workspace that people would think of as another home.
Betty, I hope it's diagram 1E because that is the diagram I'm gonna go with.
Your answer has been selected. Now, on to the audience members. This is a diagram showing the circulation Miesian minimalist idea of almost nothing, inspired by Mies van der Rohe's glass skyscraper projects of 1920. This is similar to Max Bill's concept of product form as exemplified here by Hans Corray's pressed aluminum chairs designed for the Swiss National Exhibition of 1937.
We came up with an anonymous decision. We are going to say diagram 2D.
Your answer has been selected. Ted, please tell us if anyone will be making it to the next round. Congratulations, you all have made it to the next round. Here is the second set of descriptions. This one is for Richard. These 2 diagrams show us the geometric proportions of the Central Be Here. As you could tell, the Central Be Here was inspired by the prefabricated structure adopted by Louis Kahn's Richard Laboratories in 1959, in which Hertzberger adopted a similar grid-like pattern following repetitive sequences allowing for a more unique layout, distinguishing public, semi-public, private, and service from one another. This grid-like pattern is also seen in the verticality of the building. Overall, this grid-like pattern really helps to bring this mini-city away from the city to life.
This one is too easy, Betty. It is obviously 1D, as it is the only answer with 2 diagrams.
Too easy, he says? You must be quite the smart person. Your answer has been selected. Now onto the audience members. In this diagram, we are seeing the transfer of the natural earth from the bottom and serving the purpose of the rooftop garden. From what we can tell, the site reflects how the structure was designed to sprawl towards the lot's extremities. Another thing we can see is that before the building went up, 2 smaller structures were located on the site with mostly open recreational area. Not willing to lose these areas, they were reincorporated into the design of the Willis building. Comparing Willis to the typical square building around it, it's only one to stick out from the norm and show off its organistic groove. I'm waiting.
We would like to use our hotline now.
Okay, Ted, help our audience members out.
Sure thing, Betty.
Now, this gives you guys a 50-50 chance. But do not forget there's a lot riding on this.
Wow, we came up with a unanimous decision and decided to come up with diagram 2F.
Your answer has been selected. Ted, please tell us if anyone will be making it to the next round. Congratulations, you all have made it onto the next round. Here is the second set of descriptions. This one's for Richard. This diagram is showing the structure of the central B here, in which it was made of reinforced concrete construction, which included T-shaped concrete piers and downstand beams, which were 20 by 20.
Ooh, this one is a tough one, but I'm gonna go with diagram 1F.
Your answer has been selected. Now onto the audience members. This diagram shows the structure of the two-way space frame. The structure that spans over the rooftop restaurant was indebted to the space frame research conducted in London. The engineer was Z.S. Makowski.
We are going with diagram 2A.
Your answer has been selected. Ted, please tell us if anyone will be making it to the next round. Congratulations, you all have made it onto the next round. We are now approaching the end of the game, folks. If they can make it past this round, one of them gets the chance at the ultimate matchup question. Now, Richard. Most of the space throughout Central B here is public or semi-public. The continuous subdivision of the building emphasizes the intention for the space to be personalized and rearranged. The primarily semi-public spaces are offices, where the workers were encouraged to bring in family and items from home. The carpeted areas are intended to bring to work the feeling of home. Below these spaces are 2 floors and parking. Which diagram shows this?
Well, Betty, based off of looking at these two remaining diagrams, I know that in diagram 1A, there is a significant railroad and a roadway next to the site of Central Bahir, allowing for easy transport to and from the office complex. This is quite significant because the Central Bahir was designed in a time where telecommuting was becoming the new norm, which really allowed for Hertzberger to blur the line between what a city is and what a building is. So, meaning 1A must be some sort of site context diagram. So, I'm gonna go that 1B is the diagram to your question.
Your answer has been selected. Now onto the audience members. For the chance to move on to the final round, which is a diagram that shows the structure in relation to the lot. In red, we can see the existing developments that were already existing at the time. In peach, the existing sidewalks that are used daily by the average commuter. In black, the main access roads. Based on my analysis, the entire structure was molded to heavily accentuate the lot, giving it the unique and raw organic shape.
We know that diagram 2B tells us exactly about the private, public, and the service space.
Exactly. So it can't be that one.
Oh wow, look at you. You actually contributing to the group, Susan.
Unless I'm mistaken, I believe we are going to go with diagram 2C.
Your answer has been selected. Ted, please tell us if anyone will be making it to the final round. Congratulations, you all have made it onto the final round.
Congratulations, Richard! This final round will consist of a question focused on the main ideas and inspirations for both Central Bahir and Willis Faber Dumas. Get this answer right and you will receive the Match Game Award.
Groovy, Richard. Are you ready for this? The $5,000 question. We give a quick description and then give you a phrase that you and the audience member have to complete and match. Which audience member will you be picking for this?
I choose the extremely gorgeous Wanda.
Both Central B here and Willis Faber Dumas were inspired by architect Frank Lloyd Wright's Larkin building. He focused on the workers and how they could optimize the use of their space. Now complete the phrase that describes the principle that shaped these buildings. Form follows length.
I know this one. It's function.
Shagadelic. Wanda, what did you come up with?
Function.
Congratulations, Richard. You just walked away with $5,000 and are tonight's Match Game 75 winner.